I know you've been talking about the importance of winning battles, worked on battles a lot. Other than obviously getting the puck, how has this affected the transition game for the team, do you think?
As far as lack of battles, or?
Well, there's battles that are obviously about getting the puck in.
Yeah.
That affects your ability to even try to transition.
Yes. Yeah.
But do you feel that your transition game is suffering outside of even just winning the battle in the first place?
Well, I'm not so sure. Well, because you don't have the puck.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, there were certain times in our last game you could see the difference as far as how much time we spent in the offensive zone through our transition game, because we won battles probably 6 or 7 seconds prior. That's the problem. A lot of people don't watch what happens 7, 6, whatever, how many seconds before. That determines a lot of where you're going to play the game. So there's no question, if you're not competing on pucks and winning battles, your transition game is gone. 12 minutes of that second period, they took it to us, not only the quickness in the puck when they had it in the offensive zone, but just chasing things down in the other zones to get it back again. And a number of minutes we were good at it, but it's certainly the neutral zone transition is the biggest part of hockey. The neutral zone is the biggest part of hockey, because that's where you determine which ends you'll play in. So the battle level and the amount of battles you win certainly dictates a lot of transition.
I know you track that north-south, that first
Yes.
action. So does the action in the neutral zone itself almost carry a little less weight, to your point that it's what happens before?
Yeah, to me, it's the, and I always, when I talk to you, it's an anticipation skill from our D, and that play is happening usually in the top of our circles in our zone, is anticipating getting that puck north right away. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question.
You are.
Like I do. You guys talk about analytics. That is one I look at every day with Josh, who sends to me after every game.
Right.
We're at about a 79% clip in those type of plays, top of the circles. How many?
You want to be higher, right?
I want to be. Yeah, we want to be higher. I'm not sure what the league average is. I'm not sure if. I'm sure people do keep track of it. And now that's withstanding not the breakout, because you have to move the puck east-west when you're below the circles because of forechecking and all that. So I don't consider that transition. I consider transition top of the circles and beyond. There have been games where we're at 85, 86%. That's where I like us to be. And you know, you talk about transition, you talk about speed of the game. We have not been as fast of late here with our speed, because I don't think we're going north quick enough. And that's anticipating before you can get the puck to get it up the ice north.
Not to belabor that point, but that's probably one of the reasons you do like that play in the middle of the ice, because if you make it, it's a free out, isn't it? Pretty much.
The free,
the little short, the pass.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had a
free out.
number of really good ones in the first period against them. That gets us going. You get the middle of the ice. All offensive people, all teams trying to create offense. You get the middle. What happens? It's pretty simple. You have options to your right. You have options to your left. If you're stuck on the wall and playing along the wall all the time, there's one option, and that usually turns into a turnover. Yeah. So yeah, we're always trying to exploit the middle, from our transition out of our defensive zone coverage, from our transition top of the circles, and it's a big part of how you create offense, is getting the middle of the ice.
Because Z makes the pass on the game-winning goal in Arizona. That play starts with Z getting it to Wenberg, and then it's right up the ice.
Yes, yeah, yeah. We're good at it at times, and we're not good at it. And that's been the problem with our team here a little bit, is just the consistency level of that part of it hasn't been there also. So, yeah, so and that's why you flood around 500 here the last 20 games or so, is we're not consistent in a lot of parts of our game.
You know, a lot of the games have been so close. You guys haven't built leads, but you've been keeping
Well, we've been struggling to score goals. Yeah. I mean, you know, we've talked about all year long. Guys that scored goals for us last year just have not had that type of year this year. So we have to. It is what it is. We're used to playing in a lot of close games, and we've been pretty successful at it too, quite honestly, in our record in those 1-goal games. Yeah. So, however it is, you got to find a way to get points and where you're at in the games, and you know, there hasn't been many nights that you sit behind the bench and you have a 3-goal lead, and with 6 or 7 minutes left, and say, you know what, we've played really well, and you know, you're almost not backing off as far as a coach's mind, but it's not every line change. You got to make sure you're right, because it's a one-goal game. There hasn't been many minutes in our games that way. We've just played a lot of close games this year.
John, your 3 years here have been, the first 2 years were real steadies and extremes.
Mm-hmm.
When you got here, you were almost out of the playoffs when you first started. You had that terrible start. Last year at this time, you would never say it, but you were basically in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is this more, despite the injuries, this has been more kind of a normal NHL season?
This is an NHL season, yeah. Look at the teams. Look at the league. This is the National Hockey League. It's a league that strives for parity. You've got parity, and no matter what the team's record is, there are tough games every night. And I think this is what makes you better. As I always say, I'm glad we're going through it. I wish I knew that we were in, that at the end of the year that I had the crystal ball and said, yeah, we're going to be in the playoffs. I'd feel a lot more comfortable as you go through this process, but that's not the way it is. You have to fight for everything. Just look at our division. Remember, our division was on fire early in the year. Now everybody's come down. Everybody's losing games. Everybody's in that same boat. Washington took off. Philly, who had a 10-game losing streak, found its way. And now it just keeps on getting bunched. Jersey has lost a bunch of games. So we're going through the same thing a lot of teams in this league go through. It's how you handle yourselves when you get into this 30 games and try to find a way to get a streak going, to get a bunch of points. Pitt crawls back into it. They're 8-2 of their last 10 games. Eventually, we're going to have to find a run here of winning some games in a row, and I think that's what gives you an opportunity to play after the regular season.
And that opportunity's coming up. You got so many games against the Metro. You get that. What you're saying, get on that run. That'd be a good time.
Well, if you get on a run and you're against your Metro, sure it helps. But we're just taking it one game at a time, and I like the way we've practiced the last couple of days. Anxious to play a good San Jose team coming in here. We're going to have our hands full. So, but then we go back to back. So we're going to start playing the games now.
Bob had that really good game against Arizona, then the break, then he comes back out, has another good game. It seems like he's locked in again. When he's like that, how nice is that for you guys just to be able to run that guy out there?
Yeah, you don't win in the league unless your goalie is your best player, and we've been very fortunate, at least for me for 3 years with Bob, to have that guy, and you can't discount Corpy either as far as how he's played for us this year. So we've got a little bit more. I like to get him a little bit more run support as we go through these games. It just has not happened that way this year. We talked about it how many times, guys. They're going to come. They're going to come. The guys that scored 20, 30 goals, they're going to be there. They haven't. It's just worked out that way. They're still working at it. Hopefully it'll happen. But until it does, we have to play the games and what's at us and how they're being played and find ways to get points.
John, has it been your experience when you have a guy like Panarin who works as hard as he has been working on the puck that eventually that rubs off and guys say, I got to be dragged into that?
Yeah, I mean, I've used him as an example a number of times in front of our team as far as the will. He's infectious. Just his personality. He's a hockey player. There's not a lot of hockey players sometimes in the league. They're all over the map with this thing and that thing and business and all. This guy just wants to play. He has a blast playing hockey. You watch him out here in practice, he's always having fun playing hockey. That is infectious. He's just a good kid that you like being around. And and he is. The other night he tried to put us on his back to get us 2 points there. He's been that good in all areas of the game.
And you've got guys who can do that. They've played that kind of game before and just need to ramp it up.
Yeah, you hope they, that's, I always talk about Doobie in the physical part of the game. He drags people in. You hope guys see what he's doing. And listen, no matter how upset you get with your team through a long year, at least me with this team, I like our guys. We got some good people here. They want to do well. I have not had many situations since I've been here where I've got to lean on a guy and say, you know what, you're lazy. You just don't know how to work. And it's when you get into situations of just getting it to another level. That's what we're trying to do right now, to try to kick us over and get us to into a more solid identity as a club. But we have guys that care. And I think if you have guys that care, I think you're going to be able to solve the problems. And we're certainly striving to do that.
You were talking about battles a lot, and I know is that you guys are one of the least penalized teams in the entire National Hockey League. Do you think that maybe that they go kind of hand in hand a little bit? You need to see more energy in that sense?
No. I know a lot of people say that. You didn't draw a penalty in that game. You didn't play hard enough. I don't believe that. The way penalties are called in this league now, with stick infractions and all stuff like that, I think that changes that dynamic. So I don't put too much stock in. I'm glad we are one of the least penalized teams. Do I still think we need to be a stronger team and a more aggressive team? Yeah, but I don't think our penalties should come up because of that. And I don't think our penalties are down because of that. I just think that that's just the way it's gone. I think we've really tried to understand what the rules are, especially with stick fouls, and spend a lot of time talking about it.